What's going on, guys? So we're back again with another gameplay video. This time we have Neil here on the left playing SS4, and we have Perth Pro Players team member Chris here on the right playing Soul Striker. So just before they get started into the gameplay video, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Team Card Titan. So if you guys want any DBS Seal products or DBS singles, make sure you check out that link in the description below. Now, the new set has dropped at this point. However, you can see people probably still playing those old faithfuls. And I definitely think these are the top 2 tier blue decks for this format. Unfortunately, the new decks really haven't bumped these leaders off the map at all, really. And SS4 has got some new support, which is really cool. So definitely that new counter-attack Goku, which has triple strike, is absolutely insane. And it just kind of allows turning the tide to be even more devastating than what it was, right? Because what you can do is on that turn 7, if you've established one of them, you're turning the tide, you swing a crit, you triple strike, rather than having to get potentially them down to 3 earlier in the game. It really just puts that pressure on. It's absolutely ridiculous what it does, really. So that one's really cool. And then you've also got your counter Vegeta, which you can get into play now when your opponent starts countering. And that makes a huge difference as well, because it's just more pressure. So 20k as well. And the effects, it is great on it too. As you can see, Chris here is actually playing the AOD package, which is kind of cool in Soul Striker. Obviously, Barbity being able to take away the specified cost of the whole thing is really nice. What he's done here, I can see, is he's chosen to untap the energy on his turn, right, to be able to get this garlic. And I'm assuming he's going straight for a Turles. I have no doubt in my mind that's exactly where he's going to go for. There's no point playing anything else, really, in this deck at this time, unless you just want, like, a beater. So the Android 13, I believe, is also in the deck for a little bit of a beater. But really, you're going for the Turles in these early turns to be able to get more search, draw more cards, as well as thinning the deck out. So then you find exactly what you need that may not be AOD related as well. I'm assuming he's playing the Trunks Boo, which we can see in Neil's energy just there on his side as well, just so he can get his Awaken going. Potentially, if he doesn't, we're definitely running the Boo. That's for sure. There's no doubt that we're running the Boo. The Boo's such a strong leader. So we'll see what he goes for here. Looks like he is going for just a pass here. So Neil not having anything to play on his turn 2. It's a little bit sad. Obviously, in the early games, SS4 doesn't do a hell of a lot. It's mainly just playing 1-drops, right? So you play a lot of the 1-drops. And then what you do is you just kind of just build value over the course of the game. But it's really your later turns. That's where you really put in a lot of the effort. And I guess devastate the opponent because you get such strong battle cards out of it. But Chris is really playing, I guess, the lower tier, I guess, with his AOD. So he's trying to go for more of a wide board state rather than going for a like aggressive, I guess, board state. So rather than the big beater going really tall, he's going really wide and trying to put as much pressure as possible. So we have got the Baby Gem. A great thing here, of course, once again, is the specified cost is gone on it, which is really, really nice. So that Barbity just really, really putting in work for Chris here. I feel like it makes a huge difference being able to clear that. And if anyone is playing red, of course, now red U7, having the Vegeta is absolutely insane. Just the fact that you can just kill those things straight off. So Chris playing here very well, obviously stopping all of the attacks coming through from SS4. Pretty much what they usually want to do is, you want to swing and then you want to be able to kill, take a life so then you can get your ramps, which is really needed. At least 1, if not 2 ramps is kind of needed throughout the course of the game. Because as I said, you are playing that late game, but Chris is trying to keep the energy to a minimum. So that way what he can do is, I guess, defend himself as well. So he's got time to build the board and do his game plan. So we are playing, it looks like on Neil's side, we're playing the Baby out, obviously drawing a card, passing back over to Chris, going up to 4 here. Hopefully he's found a unison. Sorry, going to 3, my apologies. Hopefully he has found a unison at this point. I really hope he has. Otherwise, that kind of sucks if he hasn't found a unison. Because he is still at 8 life as well, so he's potentially not going to awaken just here straight away on this turn. But again, he's doing what he needs to do. He's just building up his board. He's protecting his Turles as well, so he's just being able to shuffle. Looks like we are playing the Boo Unison, so we're able to grab that with the Turles, which is really nice. And then I think Neil's just going to take that damage. Doesn't look like he's going to try to combo out or anything like that, which is fine for him as well. He wants to get his Awaken, start swinging some 15Ks in. It is a 10K, so if you throw the UI Kamehameha behind it, you're then a 30K, which is pretty insane. So we're swinging in with Garlic as well, putting that pressure on. Neil getting the draw 1 here, obviously, on the Awaken. Now, he does need, I guess, a little bit of defense, so he doesn't want to start going lower than 4. I definitely don't think he wants to do that. I believe I can see a Trunks Heroic Prospect in hand. Unfortunately, though, I guess it's not really going to do very much in this deck because Chris is going very wide and low to the ground. He's not really going too tall. So he's not going anything that's an inch cost greater than what he has available. Looks like we're going to hit another Janemba, which is pretty nice for him. I think, looks like we're just getting counterplayed straight away, which is fine. That's okay for Chris as well, not a problem. Swinging in, probably untapping that energy. I dare say we're untapping that energy, and we're probably going to play out the Baby Janemba again, I would say, right? It wouldn't surprise me if we played out the Baby Janemba again, but looks like we're just going for the draw. So no untap. Maybe just going to use that 1 energy as a counter attack for another Garlic. Try to build some more things up. As I said, it's always good still to get out the 13s. And I believe Chris uses the 13s for a bit of a shuffle. So if he starts losing a lot of his Turles or a lot of the Garlic, what he is able to do, I guess, is protect those cards. So blockers are really huge against SS4 Ramp. So it's so nice to have a blocker against SS4 Ramp. It makes a massive difference, them not being able to get ramps in the early turns. And I guess Chris has kind of got the ultimate blocker in a way here because he does have a 20k, which means that Neil's going to have to combo up into it. If I was Neil, I think potentially you just throw a UI Kamehameha behind it though, just to kill it and get it off the board, because the longer it hangs around, the more frustrating it's going to be for him because he's not going to get his ramps. And as I said, at least 1 ramp needs to happen so you can start playing your cards and putting those threats in, because Chris is going to start going pretty wide and just keeping that aggression up very soon. And eventually he's going to run out of cards, right? But he needs to be able to play his threats and then devastate in a way, because that's really what they are. A lot of the blue threats, they are very devastating once they actually hit the board. And I guess that's what he needs to be able to do, is throw one of those down and actually devastate and make a huge difference. So it looks like we're going to swing in, I'm assuming, into leader here. Probably just going for the draw again. Just going for the draw. Potentially playing a Garlic offensively here, so he can play some more things out. But it looks like we're going for the Boo. Surprising Chris didn't go for his swing here to untap 1 energy, just to be able to protect himself a little bit more. But it looks like what we're going to do is we're going to swing in, I'm assuming, into leader. Heroic Prospect, so we're just going to defend here, which is understandable. We don't want to have to combo out too much. We are just going to restand, just untapping 1 energy. So we could have had access, I guess, to the 2 to be able to go a little bit more defense, keeping that blocker in active mode, which makes sense. Surprised we didn't swing the Garlic at all. Once again, we do have our blocker, but I guess Chris, as I said, wants to keep the board so he can keep going wide. Unfortunately, though, we haven't found a unison with the energy cost of 3, so no Awaken for us. Still at 8 life, though, which is pretty crazy, I feel like. Usually SS4 gets a few swings in, but as I said, this blocker is putting in work here for Chris. Really, really nice for him. So we're swinging in once again. I have no doubt. We're going straight block. Hopefully, Neil has a UI Kamehameha or something along those lines so he can just throw that behind. Another reason maybe he didn't go for the swing is I can see that Neil does have the counterattack Goku in hand, right? So there's a potential that Chris kind of thought that out, didn't want to run straight into that because that is a triple strike coming into him next turn. Maybe what he wants to do is be able to have a good way to get rid of it, right? So if he does swing in and that gets hit, he wants to make sure he's got a good way to get rid of it just straight away, so it's not too taxing for him. Looks like Neil's passing back over again. Unfortunately, still not getting those ramps, as I said, and we really need it. I think we are up at the 5 to 6 mark. Obviously, Chris playing a little bit slower, not going as wide as I expected right now. Still getting quite a few threats on the board, which is nice. This card, once again, great card. I don't think we have a counterplay at this point. So he has the chance for offering. Just going to draw 2 cards just here, which is nice for him. Seeing most of his deck. At this point, we probably just swing, maybe draw again. Maybe Neil's plan is to go for the deck out here, potentially, because Chris is drawing a hell of a lot of cards, and he is thinning the deck quite a bit. We've got no Turles, though, on board either, which is surprising. Finally found our Unison with an energy cost of 3. I don't think we're going for it this turn, though. I dare say we will wait it out. Just so we can, I guess, protect. So this is interesting here. So Chris is going for some more swings. Okay. This is where Neil could potentially hit his Goku, right? Go for the negate, have this Goku on board, and then he can defend it if he needs to quite easily. It is a 20k. Chris has also got a 20k. Only thing is, I believe it leaves him tapped out, which kind of sucks a little bit. So we are going to go for the Turles just here. Swinging in once again. Chris completely ignoring the Unison. Not feeling like it's very much of a threat. And I think, as you can see, Bo is the card that puts in the most work, especially in SS4 Ramp. Bo is absolutely insane. The fact that you get an energy back so you can start defending, most of the time defending your Bo, but just always having that threat of being able to bottom deck a card at any point, right, is insane. Just the strength that you have with that. And your opponent has to play around it. And then it's also a blocker on top. It's also got double strike. Draws cards, untaps energy. It's absolutely insane. It's probably, I would say, one of the best Unisons, if not the best Unison in the game, and probably one of the most played as well. It's absolutely insane. I just love that card, and I love what it brings to, I guess, a blue deck too. So we are passing over to Neil here. I believe we're up to, I think it's 6 energy. So we're starting to get a little bit higher, which is nice. What Neil needs to do here, right? Neil, I guess, needs to be able to start establishing some threats. Chris is still on 8 life. That's the crazy thing. He's still on 8 life. We need to start establishing some threats to be able to get this damage through, and that can be devastating. But it looks like all we're going to do on Chris's side, he's just going to block. He's going to protect what he's got, which completely understand. I think that's probably the best option right now. But we do need to get something on the board on Neil's side. And if we do that during the defense steps, that's completely fine. So it looks like we're going to take that to 20. He may even go for the Vegeta right now. The only problem is, can get very easily counterplayed, right? That's the downside. It can be counterplayed very, very easily just because we know that we've got a Boo in hand. We know how much Chris has drawn this game. More than likely, you've seen at least one counterplay at this point, right? Surely we've seen at least one. But it looks like all we're going to do is pass back over to Chris. Not going to waste our energy and tap ourselves out, which I respect. I don't think it's the right decision just here. So swinging Turles in, I'm assuming into leader once again. I don't think we're really fussing. We're not fussing with the Unison at all. We're just going to leave it. So looks like Neil is going to negate with this bad boy. Now, this is a card I was talking about that really, I guess, upped SS4 Ramp a little bit more. The fact that it now becomes that deadly defender and the opponent has to swing into this card is really frustrating. Only thing is I guess, figuring out the right time to play it, right? That is a huge thing, is finding the right time to actually play it where you know it's going to stay on your board for the next turn, because it is a triple striker, which I think is absolutely insane, the fact that you've got triple strike on that card. As I said, that paired with an Android 17 turning the tide is potentially game. Usually, your opponent doesn't have this many blockers and they're not able to defend as much as Chris has been this game. So usually you've got them down to at least 4 life by this point. As I said, you want to be able to get that damage through to get some of the ramps off, and you really need to get some ramps off. So it looks like we're going to swing Unison straight, I have no doubt, into this Goku. And we're going to Dimension Magic, just being able to untap that energy, which is really nice for us. Extra defense once again, but Chris does have 20Ks. And that's the nice thing for him. He does have 20Ks, and he's kind of wearing down Neil's hand a little bit, right? So it looks like we're going to hit the Vegeta. So we're going to defend it even further. And then what we're going to do is we're going to counterplay this. So the negate still happens, but we are going to swing a 20 in once again. Now, let's see what we've got. I don't think we have any other negates or any other free negates. We do have super combos, which is nice. I think we did have some 5Ks in hand, but maybe Neil wants to keep the negate. I was going to say the negate just got bounced back, so we know we've got at least a 5K, but potentially he just needs to cycle through a little bit and find some more cards here. And I believe we do have a hatch in hand as well, so if he ever feels too threatened, he's definitely able to play that hatch out, so that way the opponent can stop swinging for the turn and just defend himself. So it looks like now we are going to go for our Awaken. It was always hard and sad to see the Boo disappear, right? Just to be able to get an Awaken. But I think the value here for Chris is just too great. Being able to... So we untapped 2 energy prematurely, but that's okay. He probably said he was going to swing in. He's untapped his energy, and he's probably going for his draw as well. But no, we just draw 2 cards on our Awaken, we swing, and then we untap our 2 energy, right? So I'm fingers crossed he doesn't untap any more energy. I don't think he was. He probably just said he was going to swing in and just did his draw. Nope. Looks like we messed up. So we did pay 3 energy. So 1 still tapped down. I hope Chris realizes. 1 still tapped down. We swing it and we get to untap our 2 here. So he gets a decision of what he wants to untap, I guess. We are going to untap the 2. There we go. Chris did realize, thankfully, obviously figuring out that he did pay 3 for that card. And he gets his draw off as well, which is quite nice. So, we do have to kill, once again, we do have to kill this Goku that's sitting here on the board. So Chris is probably just going to start swinging into it as much as possible. We are just going to block, once again defending it, which I think valuable choice for sure. It is such a good card. So Chris is going to just swarm the board a little bit more. Now, we do have a counter window available here. So Neil has to either do it on the garlic or he does it blind, right? Just with the way the counter would work, he does have to do it blind. So Chris does have an option to look through. I believe he's straight shuffling his deck, so that would make me think like we have no more Turleses, I would say. They're potentially all in hand. Maybe we've got to hit an Android 13 here, right? Now, looks like we're just going to take 20 to 20. So we're going to 1-for-1, hitting a bean, taking it to 25, right? So now it's a little bit higher. So now Neil has to use at least 2 cards to get out, because I don't think we have any super combos left in hand. And then that kind of works out here for Chris as well, right? So wearing that hand down, because he's going to start flooding more and more to be able to get this win through. Now, there we go. So comboing out there on Neil's side. Chris still got an absolute novel in hand. Almost so many cards. Still got more swings as well, and that's the crazy thing. And I dare say he's probably going to play a Turles. Oh, he can't play a Turles. My apologies. We have still got a Turles there on board. Sorry about that. I completely forgot. It is blending a little bit into the mat, and it is underneath slightly. Surprising, though, we didn't get an Android 13 or anything like that off that card, but potentially we can get a bit more of a shuffle. Looks like we're just going to replace, though. We literally just played that for our Awaken and an extra swing, and I respect that as well. This Boo is too good not to have lying around on the board. As I said, I feel like it's just value after value. Now, hard thing here as well is obviously Neil's really trying to protect this guy, right? Which makes sense. It is such a good card, but he has used a lot of his hand, and he's also gone down to He's gone down to 2 life, I believe it is at this point. We are going to counterplay the Black Mask Saiyan, which I like as well. Obviously being able to keep that blocker. 1 less swing too into that Goku because it is higher than the Goku. I would say that surely Chris is going to, just pass turn, get to energy as well, which I think is very, very important now in this matchup because Neil is getting to that high energy state, right? I don't think he should go for anything too extreme with the hand, but I do hope, which I think I can see, we've got a KO there in hand, and I think at this point we probably play that KO and just absolutely devastate and clear the board here. So then he has to re-establish a lot, right? And we get the pressure as well of that card too, which I really, really like. So I feel like that is probably the best card right now, which is exactly what he's going for. And that's great. And he'll get the barrier and the full effect and the dual attack and the double strike as well, which is really, really nice for Neil. And he is able to clear the board as well. Only thing is obviously Boo will still hang around, which kind of sucks for Neil. But he has got barrier on this card, which is really nice. So he's going to clear that board, forcing him to establish again. Hopefully he's got a Barbity in hand. I think here though, Neil should potentially go for the Boo Unison with this Kale. Just get it off the board. I think we've seen 2 Boos already this turn, which is really nice. And I like what he's doing here. He's going for the minus, but he's swinging with the leader first. I don't think the leader swing comes first, personally. I think the KO into the Unison swing probably comes first, right? But we are going to counter Ape here, discarding our 2 cards from hand. So we are going to discard 2. Yep. And then we do have our counter, which is really nice here. Chris still taking it a life, I guess, a damage. Looks like we're just leaving 15 to 15. So Chris can quite easily combo out of that one. So we're not going to probably get our ramp off it. As I said, still quite a lot in hand as well, which is rather scary. Still 2 energy. We do get to restand as well. I forgot that also is the effect. We also get to restand with our leader because we have activated a counter. He is going to throw the UI Kamehameha behind it, drawing another card. We're throwing a bean, taking a damage, getting a ramp here, which is nice. So hopefully Neil realizes. Doesn't forget his ramp, hopefully. I think we may have forgotten our ramp, unfortunately. I don't think I saw it go from the top of the deck into the energy. I may have missed it. But we are going to swing in. Looks like we're going to get our bottom deck here on the 8, which kind of sucks. But we can put a lot of pressure. As I said, I think probably just getting this Boo Unison off the board and making Chris reestablish like literally everything is probably the most value just here. So what he can do is he can swing into the Boo potentially, even with the triple strike Goku, to take some markers off it. Now, sorry, I believe as well, I completely forgot, I believe that when you do the -4 on the baby Trunks, I believe you also get power onto your leader. I can't remember if you get double strike off the top of my head as well. I believe that you get some other effects, but I definitely know you gain power. So that was a huge swing coming in last time from Neil, and I completely forgot about that whole power bonus as well. Looks like we are going to take another gate, so Chris really defending here as much as possible. I think we may go for another counter. We've bottom decked already. We're putting quite a bit of pressure. We're forcing cards from hand. I think it could be worth it, but let's see what Neil decides to go for. Swinging in with the Goku, the triple strike. That's going to die straight away. So now we've got to clear that Goku off the board once again. Now, beans and things like that are really great with that Goku too. The fact that you can throw a bean behind it, make it a 25k, makes it that little bit harder to kill. Deadly defenders as well. For those people that haven't played when that was a card that kind of came out, I think it was, I want to say like set 5 or something like that, where every color got one of those cards. And what it was is exactly the same. When it was in rest mode, you couldn't attack the leader. You had to attack that card, but it lost 5k power, so it was always a 15k. So it was always nice to throw something like a bean onto it, make it a 20k. But if you throw a bean on behind this card, it's a 25k, which is absolutely insane. That makes it a lot harder to clear. 20k isn't too bad. That's one card from hand, whereas 25k, if you're swinging in your 15s, you're gonna have to start using quite a few cards from hand. And there are so many 20k battle cards at this point as well. So it looks like we're gonna pitch a hatch. We're going to go get a Bo1. We know it's at the bottom of the deck, which is perfect, you know. But Chris had the means to establish it again, which is good for him as well. He's smart in keeping at least one of those cards in hand, not comboing it early, holding onto it, knowing that Kale is a card, right? Very powerful card as well, as we can see how much it devastated. Put in quite a bit of work. Very sad that we didn't clear the Boo Unison its last turn, though, because again, it's just going to get so much value. It's just really, really strong. Now, I believe the barrier is gone on Kale at this point too, but we are going to hit the Baby Janemba. I have no doubt that Neil is just going to let him draw 2 here. It's not worth critting a life at this point. And I'm pretty sure it looks like we've got a full winner's set of this one as well. So we're going to swing a 20 to 20. And Chris, as you can see, just establishing with such ease, he is able to establish 20Ks. 2 energy and he's established a 20K that's drawn cards. Looks like Neil's going to pitch a super combo and we're going to get Hatch out, which is quite nice here. Now, if I was Chris, I probably would just use a bit more of that energy. I believe we have another blocker that we can establish here. I believe we have another one, which is quite nice. It looks like he's also got a Marseillan in hand, but not enough in the drop area to be able to clear the cards off the board, which is rather sad. But the fact that we do have access to more offering cards, being able to draw more cards, I was wrong. I counted wrong. Looks like he does have access to that, which is perfect. He does have access to more offering cards and able to draw more cards, and he's also got a blocker in the form of that offering card, which is great. So we're able to hit Kale and the token, right? Kale no longer has blocker, unfortunately. No longer has barrier, unfortunately, because it is only in the turn it plays that it gets that barrier. Yeah, so exactly what Chris is doing. Going to draw some more cards. We're not going to crit the life, I have no doubt. Neil's hand, though, unfortunately, rather low at this point. Chris has been able to establish such a board and being able to put so much aggression in, and we can really see where, where this style of deck shines. And it's something that Chris really loves, being able to do things like this and just establish a hell of a board for so cheap. And AOD, obviously, if you like AOD, here's a leader. You can throw it in. You can see Chris's deck pro. And you can see what he's doing. It's pretty much just 4 Barbity, 4 Turles, 4 Garlic, 4 Hatch. I swear he was running the Android 13 to be able to shuffle. I could be completely wrong. I haven't seen one this whole time. But it's just one of those things, right? Like, it's so easy. It's a small package. You're running main blue. Blue has such great cards. I should also say 4 of the winner, or the 4 of the Janemba promo as well, is obviously in the deck, as we can see. But it's such a small package that it can just go in, and obviously so cheap and can devastate. And then you've got the other great cards like Bean, like Dimension Magic, like the Boo Unison to be able to back up behind it. And then you throw it in a Soul Striker leader where you're able to manipulate energy as well as draw a hell of a lot of cards. What more could you ask for, really? So passing back over to Neil here. Swinging in, I'm assuming leader to leader. Now, be interesting to see if Neil just decides to block. Chris decides to block here. He's not going to. Just going to do a beam. So interesting that Neil didn't throw the UR Kamehameha behind it. He does have one in hand. But he may decide to throw it behind the Goku just here if he swings in with that. Because that triple strike is rather huge. Now, I believe we swing Hatch. I'm sure that's going to get bottom decked, but obviously removed from the game with the effect. But I have no doubt that Boo's going to use that effect. The only hard thing here is Boo is also a blocker. So even if he does swing in with the Goku, can get blocked. Only thing for Chris dies, I believe it's at 3 markers, so it's going to die straight away if it does do that. But we're going to go for an Oceanus instead. Pretty cool. Rather devastating, I guess, for Neil here. Hopefully, and I wish we had another Kale. That's what I really wish we had. Again, devastate the board and force him to kind of just do everything again. He definitely can't go for turning the tide. It will be way too devastating. We've got 2 blockers on board. We've still got the effect of Boo. Be far too devastating here. For him, I think Chris was definitely in the better position. It looks like he's considering going for the SS4 Goku Unison so that he is able to clear the entire board and then force the opponent to, I guess, use cards that they don't want to when they're swinging because they have to get a 2 or more. And I believe I think it's bottom deck or rest, or I can't exactly remember what key wording it has. But it's forcing the opponent and slowing them down a little bit, which is good for Neil, right? So there's a potential that he does go for that because I believe he does have the expansion SS4 Vegeta in hand. That's going to get bounced straight to hand. I had a feeling, had no doubt that was going to happen. We can't give him extra 4 cards or even extra energy, right? He doesn't need it right now. Always devastating when it happens, but I feel like a pretty obvious play, but you had to force him to have it. Chris's hand is slowly getting a little bit lower. Now, Neil's tossing up whether he wants to swing this Goku in right now. Mill his 4. Depending on what he's got in deck, there's a possibility that he does. Just to have it in rest mode, because we do need that card in rest mode for it to use, as I said, the Deadly Defender kind of style, so that he can force the opponent to swing in, which he's going to go for. I think we kind of need it. Super Combo, Bean, 2 great cards, UI, 3 great cards, 4 great cards. Unfortunately, as we can see, just blue doing great blue cards, right? You know, there's so much benefit when you play blue. So, unfortunately, just passing turn, but having our Deadly Defender live. Chris charging the baby, Trunks, just keeping to the blue. Boo. Looks like we're going to throw something big down. Turning the tide, there we go. It's at that point by now, right? So he gets to shuffle back all his battle cards. Chris does not get to shuffle back his battle cards. They stay where they are, but it's just all battle cards to Neil from the drop area. Going back in the deck and from his hell hand. Not just the battle cards, it's the whole hand, which is devastating. 2 life, so that's game. Unfortunately here, right? Because what we're going to do is we swing a 20 into the Goku, and then we swing our Boo into the leader, because I believe we're at 2 life left. So we swing the 20k to 20k, that dies. Swing a crit, and then that's it. Maybe we were just at 1. There we go. We were just at 1. So, big game just there, but Soul Striker did take it with the AOD package. SS4 not really getting to ramp and get the full extent of their plays off, but we still got to see a little bit of high energy. We did get to see the KO and what it does, and we saw that new Deadly Defender style Goku, which is awesome. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please remember to subscribe, hit that bell to stay notified, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.